My name is Gert Rausch. I'm with the Aqua Grille in Sandwich, and here's my chef de cuisine,
Jacob Arda.
And what we're going to do today is we're going to cook some lobsters. What we are here at beautiful Cape Cod, everybody comes down here, they want to eat lobsters. And we are doing a lobster festival this year, and we're going to do like 4 or 5 different kind of lobsters. Today what we're going to cook actually is a Lobster Américaine, which is a classic lobster dish. It is actually from the French cooking, the classic French cooking, and we're just going to tweak it a little bit different than they actually do it in France. What we're doing right now is the most important thing on a Lobster Américaine is that it's fresh lobster, because you want to use all the shells, all the innards, every piece of the lobster, because that will give you the exceptional flavor, which you cannot, it will not be achieved with a boiled lobster or lobster meat. That's an impossibility. You see what he's doing right now, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to take this little bit of the roe out, and we put it aside on a plate, because we're going to use this later on. When we are making the sauce, we're going to add this to the sauce, and that will give it that really good flavor. In Europe, for example, a lot of these parts are a specialty, and they actually just eat it as an appetizer. But Jacob, so why don't you go ahead and cut the rest of the lobster up for us? And like you saw, you know, yeah, I would just cut them up in little pieces. So now we have this cut up, and now we can go ahead and we can take the gloves off, and we're probably gonna cut them up a little bit more, Jacob. You know what I would do is I cut them up a little bit here, like a little bit up here, and then we set it aside. And now we're gonna start cooking the Lobster Américaine. And the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna saute. We have the ingredients for Lobster Américaine is basically garlic. We have some onions or shallots. We have thyme. We have tarragon. We have cognac, a little bit of white wine, some tomato ketchup or tomato paste, and fresh tomatoes. And what we're going to do is we're going to saute all this stuff together. We're going to add our butter into this pan. Add a nice helping of garlic on there. A little bit of shallots. And if you don't have shallots, you can use nice white onions. That's all right too. You know, you don't have to always. When you see cooking shows, you don't have to do everything the way they do it. If you see something you like better, or you don't like something, you don't like garlic, or you don't like onions, just leave it out. You know, I mean, cooking is not it's not a super science. You know, it's like what you like, that's what you should eat. The rest of it really doesn't matter. You know, and don't let anybody ever tell you that this dish would never work the way if you don't do it exactly like the chef proposed it, you know? You know, with cooking, you can add all kind of stuff to it. If you do baking, that's a totally different ballgame. You can go ahead, if you have a recipe, and say, well, now I'm going to throw in another ½ pound of flour or eggs. That will not work. With cooking, it doesn't make any difference. You can put it in there. So we're going to saute this until it's nice and transparent. It needs a little bit more. Then in another pan, what we're doing right now is we're heating up the pan very, very hot. We want to make that very hot. And so what we're going to do in here is we're going to saute our lobster. We're going to do it separate, because we want to make sure that our lobster doesn't overcook and stuff like that. It's basically the same. We're going to put in some butter. If you don't like butter, you can use olive oil. Olive oil is fine too. The same thing again, we add a little bit of the rest of the garlic we have here. And then we're going to add our lobster to it. Jacob, I would chop this up a little bit more too. So now we're gonna, so here's our little vegetable stew. It's cooking, so we have to make sure it doesn't burn, so we're gonna add a little bit of white wine. We add some tomatoes. A little bit of paprika. A little bit of the chopped tarragon. And a little bit of our herb mixture. And then we add a little bit of salt. And I always try to use like sea salt or kosher salt or things like this. It's just healthier than the regular salt. So let this cook and simmer for about 10-15 minutes. You see the lobster here is taking on a nice color now. It looks like a very messy dish, and it is in a way. When you eat it, it's not easy to eat. It's not like a lazy man lobster where you have this nice meat all cut out. But the flavor of that stuff is so much better because you got everything in there, you know. Everything will be cooked out from the lobster, and there's just no way that you will achieve this any other way. With some brandy, and we're going to flame it. Well, here I burned down the restaurant, but that's all right. But otherwise, I think we are just fine. It was just a little burn, you know. All right, here we are. Here's our Lobster Américaine. We're going to set it all up. And in the last minute, what we're going to do is we're going to put this roe, which we took out, we mix it up with a little bit of olive oil, and we add it to the pan. All right, and here is your Lobster Américaine. The dish is ready. Here we go. All right. And this is our Lobster Américaine.